Hey, 20-2s. In this video, what we're going to talk about is the multiplication of radicals. Good news for you. If you thought adding and subtracting was okay, you're going to find multiplying just as okay as well. Here we go. Let's multiply the following radicals together. So on the first one here, we've got the square root of 3 times the square root of 18. Okay, so what we can do here, I'm going to do it over here to the left. And I go, okay, root 3 times root 18. The nice thing about multiplying is the radicands don't have to be the same. So guess what? That's the square root of 54. But what we'll always do from here is we'll always try to simplify. So that's 9 times 6, which is 3 root 6. There it is. But there's a different way to do this one. I'm going to show you that. So what I noticed is the square root of 18. Look at what we can do with the square root of 18. We could simplify the 18 first into 3 root 2. And now we go ahead and multiply. So 1 times 3 is 3. That's our coefficients. And we multiply our radicands together. Root 6. There it is. That's it. That's how you multiply radicals together. You go coefficient with coefficient, radicand with radicand. Okay, 2 different ways to do it. So what I've got here is I've got the same question twice because I wanted to show you there's 2 different ways to do it. So one method is you multiply and then simplify. And the second method is you could always try to simplify first and then multiply. Okay. It's really up to you which method you prefer. I'm going to tell you I'm going to prefer to do the second method. The reason I prefer the second method is that way if I simplify first, I'm working with smaller numbers, and that might just make doing the math a little easier. All right, let's try a few more. So root 6 times 5 root 3. Okay, so I say nothing to simplify to begin. So I go coefficient with coefficient, radicand with radicand. Okay, root 18, yeah, I can simplify that. So root 18 is 9 times 2. Square root of 9 is 3, so I multiply it to the 5. 15 root 2. There it is. And again, remember, you could check your work in your calculator. You put the original question in your answer, and they have to give us the same decimal approximation. All right, the next one here. Okay, I see root 20 and root 40. All right, those are starting to become big numbers, so I don't want to multiply those together off the bat. What I want to do is let's simplify them first. So I look for, again, my perfect squares. Square root of 4 is 2, so that's negative 4 root 5. On this one, the square root of 4 again is 2. But remember, when we're multiplying, the radicands don't have to be the same. So we keep multiplying. So negative 4 times 2, multiply those coefficients. 5 times 10 is 50. And what I'll see on a quiz or a test is people will stop here. But you've got to say to yourself, can I keep simplifying? Sir, yes, sir. Look at that. 50 is 25 times 2. Square root of 25 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. There it is. Okay, so even though I simplified at the beginning, guess what I ended up having to do? I had to simplify again at the end. Okay, this is where it's starting to get a little bit more complicated. So please, 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 you're constantly checking if you have to simplify again. Now, the last two, looking at these ones, you can tell right away they look more complicated. This is about as tough as it's going to get for us. So what we're going to do here is, when we've got these parentheses, what we need to do is we need to distribute our term into both terms inside the parentheses, into that binomial. So let's do that. So 3 root 2 times 4. So that's 12 root 2. 3 root 2 times 5 root 3. So 3 times 5 is 15. Root 2 times root 3 is 6. And I ask myself, can I simplify any radicands? No, I cannot. And that is it. Okay, that one wasn't too bad. The next one is a binomial times a binomial. So what we're going to need to do here is we're going to have to multiply 4 times. Once, twice, thrice, whatever the heck you say for force, right? 4 times. Okay, when you were in 10C, you might have heard the expression FOIL. So how FOIL goes, if you want to use it, you would say, you would multiply the first 2 together. So root 2 times root 2 is root 4. Then you go outer, so that's this one. So you go root 2 times root 3. That's positive root 6. Then you go inner, right here. So you go minus root 3 times root 2. That's minus root 6. And then you would go last. So root 3 times root 3, but it's negative. That. Okay, and now I simplify. Well, the square root of 4, my friends, is just 2. It's a perfect square. Root 6 minus root 6, well, that's 0. And minus 9, well, that's minus 3. Oh boy, look at that. It simplifies all the way down to negative 1. That's it. That's how you would multiply a binomial times a binomial. Okay, so multiplication isn't going to be that tricky. Division in our next lesson is where it's going to start to get a little bit more difficult. Okay, so make sure that you've mastered adding and subtracting and multiplying before you try that lesson. See you next time, friends.